Alright, fine, I cave in. This island is huge. Like, really huge. It is unbelievably massive in scope and scale, making it a very large task to go over in rank. I've been tossing over whether or not I wanted to do this for a while, but after so many people asked for it over the last two videos, I decided to bite the bullet and finally go over it. I had never actually listened to it before now, so I was curious at what all the buzz was about. What did I think of it? Well, let's get into the rankings to find out. Unlike the other rankings, there's too much stuff to do a standard top and bottom 3, but not enough to make a top and bottom 5. So we're going to go midway and just do a top and bottom 4, which should just give enough space for the best and worst. The fourth best monster is Realitip, one of the ancients and easily the best one. Not that the other ones are bad or anything, besides a couple exceptions, just this one is a lot more interesting musically. Its melody is very catchy, constantly getting stuck in my head and just playing on loop all the time. It comes in exactly when it needs to and makes room for the other main melody right when it needs to. Just a great vocal all around. Third on the list is Arbork, one of the best Taiko monsters I've ever heard. It's crazy how much better this thing is compared to the official one. It's actually embarrassing thinking about it. Anyway, yeah, this thing has like a million tracks and they're all really impactful and important. Just different enough to warrant them all while not becoming overpowering and overbearing. A perfect percussion packed into a precious petite pet-like pal. Harpopathic is a bloated as heck single elemental, and I'm perfectly fine with it. This thing does so much all at once. It has insanely good background sounds, its melody is a beautiful supporting track, and its sound font is majestic as all love. It's quite impressive that it can have all of this and still blend well into the song. Usually monsters that have this set of abilities overpower everything. A big shout out to the amount of skill needed to pull this off well. Okay, number one is Snowlano. There was no other option. It starts playing right as the song starts and is the last thing you hear, and throughout the whole song you constantly get a beautiful, complex, well thought out melody and structure that is expertly woven in and out of the song like a silken blanket. I have zero things to complain about, and I have nothing to add that everyone hasn't already said. It's just absolutely outstanding. The honorable mentions include the following monsters. Basily is a great bass monster that I enjoy a lot. It's a great example of how useful basses can be if you don't just make them generic chord strumming background noise. Parumpit just barely missed out being the top 4. It is so great at what it does, and oh my god, the suspended notes are amazingly perfect. Lefitip, I think that's how it's pronounced, is pretty good. Its individual track sounds like its own song, and in the full song it blends really well with the building tone of that verse. Choirs, stupid name by the way, is the gold standard for the oversaturation of choir monsters this community has. It has a great track for the high voices, a great track for the low voices, and great tracks for everything in between. Bianken is a perfect closure to the buildup of the whole island, and I just really enjoy it. This is another melody that constantly gets stuck in my head over and over again. Well, that's it for the really outstanding stuff. Now we gotta get into the not so outstanding stuff. Again, like always, I must say this is all good-natured and not an attack towards the island or any of the monsters. That being said, let's get into the sloppy bottom of the barrel. Infinitip is loud. It hurts my ears. It's just way too much. The sound font on this thing is ghastly and painful to listen to. The track itself isn't that bad, but the sound font and volume just ruin it for me. It really sucks. I don't really have much else to say because that is truly the main and only issue. It's just really unpleasant to listen to. Tentynth is one of 2 monsters that genuinely make 0 impact, as in you can remove it and probably not notice anything. Which especially sucks because the other islands it's on, it actually pops off in a lot of ways. I mean, it's not like it's bad or anything, maybe a bit shrill, but it just really is nothing at all. The worst part is this isn't even the most egregious example of this, because next up on the list we have Slamporbs, the percussionist that just genuinely is not anything. I struggled so hard with where the heck this thing played in the full song because I genuinely, to this day, still cannot hear it at all. I love percussion, and this thing is just boring and lifeless. Even if you could hear it, the rhythm it plays is dull and bland, like the most basic loop you could do. It's both unable to be heard in the song and better off not heard. Alright, so the worst monster on this island is frustrating because it is the only one that's downright bad. The others have issues, but Reaper Tip is just straight up upsettingly bad. Its addition to the song is stale, repetitive, awkward, and just not like anything else playing. It's a boring sound on a very overdone design fit in with a group of monsters that are predominantly really good. It's genuinely upsetting that it has to detract so much. Dishonorable mentions include the following monsters. Wine is such a boring monster. Its track is fine, but the actual track is just uninspired and generic. Its back melody on the music box-like instrument is inaudible in the full song, and the main one is just fine. Nap percussion is kinda background, and it just fails to stand out as anything other than filler. With like 5 drum kit monsters, it's bound to have at least a few, and unfortunately this is one of them. I hate Kermit. Not for the track, or the placement, just the idea. I don't like showing these islands to anyone outside of the community simply because the idea of just putting Kermit the Frog on random islands is just weird and makes me look lame. The track is fine, so I'm tired, like, I'm fine with it on this island. I hate Kermit. I'm just tired of seeing this stupid green dipster cosplaying frog everywhere. And that's Ancient Anomaly, and my final verdict is it's good. Really good. It's not a cinematic spectacle like Atlantic Aquarium, nor is it a masterpiece of music like Permian Palace. It's just an amazingly put together song that has some really innovative and intelligent instrumentation behind it. I can't believe this was made by just one person. It's incredible to think about. More islands like this, please. If you want to see more islands covered from the community, leave your ideas in the comments below, and maybe we'll do it next time. There have been some really cool stuff coming out lately, and I'm excited to see where we go from here. Until next time, I'll see you all in the next video. Alrighty, if it wasn't obvious from the 10 plus minutes I spent talking about it, I like Ancient Anomaly. I think it is really good. I think, in fact, I would go as far as to say it is must-see content. I commend the amount of effort that has gone into this. The music is really good. The flaws that I have with it are very few and far between, and overall, I just think it's really something special. An understated but also worth mentioning aspect is that it does something different. It's not just a standard quad island with a ethereal equivalent. There's a bunch of different guys, and it's like a whole dream idea, and it's not it's cool, it's special. I think it is really worth checking out. It is something that if you're a fan of MSM fan-made content, you will enjoy something out of it. And that's pretty much it. I don't have to say anything more than that.